Well, I've bastardized my qualification to say that I'm a strength and conditioning coach, but really, technically, I'm not. I haven't done any sort of
I mean,
formalized
but what's the
strength.
difference realistically?
Well, yeah, I mean, the sports science degree I had taught me there was a lot of crossover, but it was more focused around exercise physiology and the science of sport, kinesiology, rather than just pure strength and conditioning training. But there was certainly a lot of crossover. But I suppose technically, sports scientist is what my first Bachelor of Science degree is in, and then physiotherapy is what my second one is. But what I think the problem is with physio is well, where to begin? I've got lots of problems with the physiotherapy profession after working in it for 2 decades. But I think arrogance, egotisticalness, over complexity, taking credit for things that it doesn't deserve to take credit for, claiming that it's better than other healthcare professions out there, having this pompous, arrogant, hierarchical, elitist type of approach, which I don't think it deserves or gets much credit or deserves much credit. And yeah, just a shitload of stupid nonsense that infests the profession, mate. That's what I think is the problem with physiotherapy.
I agree with you about the hierarchy too, because one of my buddies here is a physio, and we were actually talking about this the other day because a lot of these structures set it up where there's like a hierarchy where it's like, okay, immediate injury, you got maybe if it's surgery, the surgeon's in charge, then it's the physio, then it's the ATC, and like that's got to just be the problem with, like you said, with the degrees sucking. It's got to be academic, right? Like, how do we blow that whole thing up?
I don't know how to blow it up, mate. I've been trying for years to get the profession to change and to recognise, what it is good at and what it's not so good at, and give it some sort of a little bit more honesty and humility. And I don't think I've been very successful in doing that. So I don't know how to change it. But no, I think a lot of physiotherapists' lack of confidence in doing the simple things really well stems for their inferiority complexes. And I think it's the medical system that a lot of us work in. We always feel second best or subservient to our medical colleagues, to the doctors and to the surgeons. And I think there's a lot of inferiority complex in physiotherapy for that. And so they try to make up for that by overcomplicating and overconflating a shitload of what they do in an attempt at what they think is a belief to make themselves appear more medical, to make them appear more intelligent than they actually are. And it fucking frustrates the hell out of me, particularly in the UK now. I'm seeing more and more physios running around pretending to be junior doctors. There's a lot of heavy promotion and pushing for physiotherapists' careers to go into the medical side of it. So we're seeing a lot of young physios being promoted to start talking about prescriptions, pharmacology,
What?
doing injection. Yeah, I mean, I've been trained in it as well. In my NHS career now, I'm a diagnostic ultrasonographer, so I've been trained to be doing radiology interventions. I've been trained to, say, prescribe medications, to do injections, all because this is what, again, a lot of physios believe this is where their skills evolve in. And I do see some people doing it well, but I also see a lot of the physios just, say, running around pretending to be junior doctors, and it's embarrassing and it frustrates me a lot. And the consequence of that is that a lot of the physiotherapy in the UK now has moved away from its roots, which is good quality injury diagnosis, pain diagnosis, and rehabilitation. There's no financial incentive or reward or career prospects for physios just to want to be good at getting people functioning and back doing what they need to be doing after an episode of pain and injury. It's all about interventions with medicines and injections and ultrasounds now, and it is depressing and it does frustrate me a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could almost say the same thing about strength and conditioning, and that's kind of why I asked you, what's the difference? Because I'm very fortunate where I work. The athletic trainer I work with, he's awesome. And I joke, I say, are you a strength coach? Are you an athletic trainer? Because when I'm training the whole team, if there's somebody in a return to play setting, he takes him and he's off doing what he needs to do, regressing it. And, Kyle, my athletic trainer, has taken the time to learn what dribbles are, learn my progressions and regressions to do those things. And if I'm training the whole team and he's training somebody one-on-one, well, isn't he technically being a strength and conditioning coach in that moment, right? And then when we're in practice and the whole team is there and they need the ATCs monitoring everybody and I'm rehabbing somebody, well, am I being an athletic trainer or physio? Like, that's why there doesn't need to be all these silos, right? And we can blur the lines, no?
No, I totally agree, mate. But again, it's just that inferiority complexes of not wanting to feel like you're having somebody step on your toes or take away your skill set, and it's just all that protective mentality that I think a lot of the professions tend to have. This is my role, this is what I should do, this is where my skills are, therefore you stick to what you're doing, I stick to what I do. But as you say, there's a lot of crossover and a lot of overlap, and I think there's a lot to be learned from each other. I think I class myself as a better physio for aligning myself more with strength coaches, personal trainers, athletic trainers. I find that I've learned a shitload more from them than other than just sticking in my silo and listening to physios, because I'd still be thinking I could feel sacroiliac joints out of place and trigger points and fascial adhesions. If I only carried on just listening to physios, I'd be thinking all sorts of stupid bullshit. But the fact my eyes have been opened and my horizons broadened has come from my interaction and interdisciplinary working with other professions.
You think it's because people are employed as educators but have never done it and haven't played sport themselves? So like I was talking with my wife that the teachers for strength and conditioning profession usually never even were fucking strength coaches in their day-to-day. Like, so why in the hell should they be educating the youth?
Yeah, I think that's a part of it. But I the reasons why people get dogmatic or stuck in their ways is due to lots of different things. There's a lot of cognitive fallacies that can drive people to not want to listen to ulterior motive or ulterior hypotheses and things along those lines. But I think a part of it is a lot of people they lack exposure or experience to things that they're asking other people to do. Yeah, absolutely. I used to have a saying that I think it's all good for a physio or an athletic trainer, particularly if you're demonstrating exercises, to be able to do that art exercise that you ask your athletes and stuff to do. But again, I think that's dependent on the type of individuals you're working with, because again, I work with some very strong, very fit athletic people that are able to do a shitload of things better than I could do as a physiotherapist. So, but I do believe that practicing what you preach is important. Yeah.
One last question before we change topics. Do you think that, kind of the governing bodies continue to have that siloed approach? Do you think there's ever going to be a way that they can blend it and then...
Don't get me started on the governing bodies, mate.
I just did. Go ahead.
I could get myself in a bit of hot water here because personally I think they're inept and they're not fit for purpose. And I've got myself in a lot of hot water about that, and I'm currently still in a lot of hot water about that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I've got a couple of legal proceedings ongoing at the moment in the background due to some knobheads in positions of authority, making my life a little bit difficult because of my views and opinions and using the authorities to their advantage. And to say the authorities are, let's just say that my views and opinions on them are not very favourable at the moment because of that.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.